Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We are coming to you live here from the PhD Speed Gaming Expo. As usual, I'm your host, Matt, and I am joined here with Randy from Steve Jackson Games. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. We showing off the new games and some of our older stuff to a lot of sellers, a lot of store owners, people who are fans themselves. It's nice. It's a good show.
Yeah, PhD is always a cool one to come to. We went to our first one last year, and it's definitely a much more relaxed vibe than a lot of the conventions and shows that we wind up going to. So
It is.
it's a nice change of pace.
They're a pretty good group of distributors. I've been to their shows a bunch of times, and then I've come down to just pitch like show games directly to them. Last time it was right before the hurricane, so I flew in a day before 2 days before the hurricane and flew out the day before the hurricane.
Yep.
So
Welcome to Florida.
yeah.
So, what have you brought to show off to us today?
I brought Deadly Doodles. It is a draw and draw is what we call it. It's like a roll and write, but if you're not rolling dice, I don't like to call it a roll and write. I call that a draw and draw if you're drawing cards.
So you draw and draw. You're drawing cards and then drawing a picture, drawing an image.
So you're going to be drawing a path on a dry erase board. A little kind of like a dungeon we've got. 4 cards
You're doing
would be
up close to
drawn
this right
for everyone. And everyone must draw those 4 cards. Those 4 cards are you're going to make a path or multiple paths through the dungeon. They have to touch either an entrance or a line that's already happened. And then you can start at another entrance. It's just going to lower your score later in the game if you have to. But if you're getting a bunch of points from losing one, then it's a good deal for you.
here. Okay.
Your goal is to have the most points at the end. You get points for collecting loot. If you get the dragon in the middle, if you pass through that, it doubles your loot score. You can also get points from getting weapons. And if you collect a monster where you've already got the weapon, you get more points. The monsters are worth points. But if you get a monster and you didn't get the weapon, you lose points.
So
you don't have
you
the
need to
weapon.
have the weapon to slay the monster, of
Right.
course.
You can. It's only checking score at the very end of the game, so you could collect the monster first and find the weapon later, and it'll all work out for you. The biggest things we've done that are different from other roll and write style games, trap card. 2 of the cards that you could draw through the game are traps. You choose somewhere on the board to put the X, and at the end of the game, you check the other players, and if they have drawn through that spot, they lose points.
So everyone's got the same board layout.
Everyone would have the same board layout. It's also not a square board. Many roll and writes choose a square map, and it isn't really necessary because everybody is dealing with the same materials. It's completely fair, even if it isn't itself inherently mathematically equal to everything. We've had good results with it. It takes about 20 minutes to play.
Okay.
We were teaching it in the speed gaming the other day, so teaching and playing through the whole game, we were getting done with about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
We had to, anyone with analysis paralysis can slow it down as they can with any game.
Right, absolutely.
But we were able to push forward a little bit, and by the end of the game, they were like, oh, yeah, I know, I could teach it.
So is this game then one of those quote-unquote infinitely expandable roll and writes, or draws, if you will, assuming you had the appropriate number of player boards, or is it a hard set on the player count?
You have to modify it oh so slightly because of the traps. When
Okay.
it's 4 players, 3 players, or 2 players, a trap would affect everyone at the table. When we go over 4 players, 5, 6, 100, you're going to not want every soul at the table in the game putting a trap. It'll fill the whole thing, and it'll break down.
Yeah.
So you have to limit who the traps hit. Our house rule for it is, as we are playing in that game, your traps only affect the 2 people on either side of you.
Makes sense.
If I were doing a 100-player game, I would limit it. Maybe the boards would say everyone with a number 1 up in the corner, your traps are going to affect each other, or you would just affect the people at that table so the end resolution goes faster.
Okay.
But other than that, it is infinitely scalable.
Very cool.
It's a $20 MSRP, available August. We should have some advanced copies, a very few advanced copies at Origin, and then it should be available, barring unforeseen circumstances, at Gen Con.
Very, very cool. So, talk to me a little bit about getting in on the roll and write craze, because I know that that's the hotness right now. Even if this is, I agree, it's a draw and draw.
But
I
it's still in
that's
the same soul of it.
right, exactly.
Phil Reed uh, came into the office one day, or first thing in the morning on like a Monday, and said, "Hey, I want to make a roll and write, something about a dungeon." And he had a name. It ended up being we couldn't use that name because it was already trademarked for somebody else. We go through our trademark searches and make sure we're not taking somebody else's name in the process.
Right.
We couldn't use that name, but we wound up with Deadly Doodles. Sam Mitchke and I, who have been working together for years, designing games like Simon's Cat, Bill and Ted's Excellent board game, Super Kitty Bug Slap, things like that. Within a week, had come up with this idea and really had a late stage prototype. By the end of the week, we were getting in touch with Katie Cook to try to get her on board for the art and things like that. And the game was basically done in a week. So
Wow.
we were able to get in on the roll and write wave
While the
because we
rave
had
is still
this. It was
cresting, yeah.
frighteningly quick. I mean, a game doesn't go from concept to almost print buying in a week.
Right.
Usually, that's not a normal thing for us.
Unless you get lightning in a bottle, I guess,
We
right?
we got it. I hope that it equates to sales. Katie Cook's art is wonderful. It's fun. It can really draw people in. So it's a great fit for what we're doing here. It apparently is 4 o'clock. It is a great fit for what we're doing here. So I hope that helps out. The play itself is very good. It's very simple. It's fast play. It's understandable, and it's fun yet more loose than a lot of roll and writes. A lot of them are very strict and they're very
Regimented in what you can and can't do.
yeah, and there's a lot more opening. A lot of them are like, oh no, you only use one entrance or you only do one of the. And this is, do what you want. It's going to affect your score a little bit, but have fun with it.
Gotcha. So, as you were saying, this is a relatively quick development time on this game. Were there any particularly difficult challenges that you faced along the way, or was it really just once the idea came into being, it went from early concept to final development in a relatively straightforward manner?
It's a late stage prototype now, so we're still fighting a little bit with some of the errors we have, like the corners should be rounded. Trying to figure out what we're going to put on the bottom of the card so it's not too much for people to understand, but it's enough that they can use it as a tool to help the scoring go quicker. What I would call the tax prep of the game, the boring part that has to happen for the game to work.
Yeah.
That part, how to make it fun and easy and quick. The biggest drawback was pretty much not being able to use the cool name that was originally the impetus, and looking for another name that all of us could agree on, because it's while the design was for the most part Sam Mitchke and I, we don't get final say. As with most good projects, you have to push it through other people who say, no, that's not good enough, do more, do better.
Right.
And that means Phil Reed, Steve Jackson himself, like, no, that name doesn't seem right, maybe this name, and coming to Deadly Doodles. There haven't been a lot of drawbacks to it so far, so I'm hoping that means the manufacturing process and things where you can always get hiccups.
Right.
We don't find it there. Something unforeseen like getting it stuck in customs or having a boat sink or something crazy, which can always
here's to
happen.
smooth sailing.
Right. It's,
Slight pun intended along the way.
there's always something that pops up. Hopefully it's minor or absent on this project.
So, is there anything else coming out by Steve Jackson Games that you want to talk to us about today?
Oh gosh, there's always more stuff coming out. I expect later this year to have our Car Wars Kickstarter project, the new edition of Car Wars, available, and then that should be out next year. I hope. I want to see it in people's hands. We've got Simon's Cat that's out. We've got Super Kitty Bug Slap up for an Origins Award. It'd be nice to win that. I don't know everything that's involved in that, but that would be the most prestigious award I had won so far. Sam Mitchke and I, or both of us. That's still up in the air. Gosh, there's so many projects that I get to work on. Bullet Dice. I don't know anything specific. And I'm at a lot of these shows, so I've met. I know I've dealt with Twitch before at a couple of places, Twist, I should say, and. Yeah, no specific project. Our what is it? Yeah, there's tons of things.
You
Look
just
at
got a lot of stuff coming up.
SteveJacksonGames.com. We've been there forever.
So yeah, that was my next segue. Where can our viewers go to find out more information about Deadly Doodles and all the other things that you're working on right now with Steve Jackson Games?
Come if you're looking for information. Your friendly local game store is one of the best places in the world. They know who we are in all likelihood. If you can't find us there, put them in touch with us. SteveJacksonGames.com, SJGames.com. Google can find us. Get in touch with anyone there. We're very open. We do like to contact fans. If you're missing pieces from games, get in touch with us. If we have those pieces, we'll get them out to you. SteveJacksonGames.com, SJGames.com. And anytime you go to a show, if it's a big show, we're probably there.
Yeah, you guys are always around.
We're at a lot of them. I am at a lot of them, and more so in coming years again. I took a little break as my son was born and went to fewer shows, but I expect as he's growing older, I'll get back to going to far more shows.
The convention life again, right?
Yeah, I love it and I hate it some days at the same time. After you see so many people, like you get back from the road, and I've dealt with 70,000 people for this weekend. I don't want to talk to anybody whose name I don't know.
Yep.
I'm going to get on the internet for a little bit and play some games with close friends so that I can go, well, I'm full, bye. And they'll go, bye, and just click done by myself.
Yep. I definitely can understand that one.
It eats at you. It's nice to get out and talk to people, but it's very natural to say that's enough. I've had enough of people.
You got to crawl back into the cave at the end of the day and just decompress a little bit, right?
It's different levels for different people, and some people have a far lower, like I can't deal with large groups of people, but I am over that. I'll talk to them. I'll go stand on a stage in front of hundreds of people. That's fine. But at the end of it, I'm come back to that. Okay, that's enough of all of you. I don't care how wonderful you are. I need to be away from you.
I could sympathize. Well, excuse me. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. And thank all of you for watching at home. Make sure you stay tuned as we continue our coverage here from the PhD Speed Gaming Expo. But signing off for now, I'm Matt. Have a good one, everyone.